Hello
Hey,
and good evening, guys, and welcome to The Truth
truth behind the
Truth.
truth.
We trust that everybody is doing well, and we want to thank
Yes.
you for tuning in tonight. Always welcome our wonderful brother, Dr. Harold LaFall.
Yes.
This is truly the West Coast versus East Coast connection. You know
Yes,
what I'm
it
saying?
is. Oh, wow. Yes, it is.
Truly so. Guys, we want to welcome our Facebook family as well as our YouTube and our Instagram family for tuning in tonight, and our UK family as well.
Yes.
Should be a very interesting show tonight. We've got some very interesting off the top topics. It's going to really surprise you guys in just a few minutes as we get into that.
And there is a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
There's a lot to talk about, people.
And
Oh,
just kind of
goodness.
pressing in when you don't feel like you want to do something, but you have a goal in mind, you know, or something that you have to do for the area of your life, you know, and we'll tell you what's happening in just a minute.
Yeah.
You know, this is probably one of the most difficult shows that we've had to do so far.
Yes.
You know,
Mentally and physically.
Yeah, mentally and physically. It's quite one of the most, I would say, challenging shows, you know, that have been out there. But without further ado, the two of us are sitting here with COVID-19. I'm not trying to get emotional about it. I mean, we've done everything that we could to be, you know, to avoid it, you know, in our day-to-day lives.
You want me to take this up?
Well,
I'll take it up. I'll take it up.
You know, our day-to-day lives.
Day-to-day lives.
And but we do really want to say that, you know, wear your damn mask. Okay, even though we were part of that saying consistently of wearing your mask is so important. We sit here, we don't know how it happened. You know, I mean, we both are.
It was something that we couldn't.
We both are, you know, in the public, you know, as far as I work on a regular basis. So, you know, it could have been anybody that you come in contact with,
could have been anybody
throughout that period. But yeah, we sit here with it. You know, my symptoms are not like those that you've seen. Thank God, you know, for that. But I'm very, very fatigued. I have no appetite, you know, at all. And the cold medicines that we're taking, and thank God for that. It helps to suppress whatever things that would, you know, what be going on with you, you know. So it is helping get through it. So hopefully that we'll get through this very quickly, you know, and be back fully functional as we should be. Go ahead. I know you had a point you wanted.
Well, it's just nothing. You know, this was. I don't want to put it off like, you know, this is something we could have avoided. This is something that since we moved here, now we moved here from Atlanta to LA.
Right.
When we moved here from Atlanta, we were even dodging it. We did everything from, you know, making sure that we self-isolated, you know, wore a mask. And then when we moved to LA, it was the same thing. Right. Nothing different, nothing new. You know, I kept thinking when we landed here and we worked our jobs the way we were working, I kept saying to myself, now, it's kind of going to be really tricky because of the fact that, you know, here in LA is so much going on.
Yeah.
So much going on. We were here in the midst of protests and things, voting and all that stuff. And, you know, people were really up and going. People, you know, were doing a lot of stuff, even protesting wearing the mask. And I said to myself, then, you know, we have to be extra cautious, extra careful. But other than that, though, when we got it, when we both got it,
yes,
I realized that, you know, okay, it has happened. We got it. So what we're going to do? How are we going to go about doing it? Well, how are we going to move forward now that we have it? And I want to say, thank God, when I did catch it, it didn't seem like the force that could have, you know, that I've been hearing about, the not having enough air, not breathing, because growing up, asthma was a big thing in my part of growing. Asthma was one of those things I always used to be in fear of. If I went off for a jog, if I did any type of extra activities, I was in fear of. But in this situation, thank God it didn't happen. It didn't attack none of my, you know, the breathing factor. It mostly attacked the joints in my body, because I felt fatigued. I felt so fatigued. And I kept saying to myself, okay, I see what's going on. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing. I'm going to keep making sure that I get up every day, make sure I take my showers, make sure I take my vitamins, I take my medicine, I make sure that everything is organized. and making sure that you're okay at the same time. Because it's you got mentally, you have to get over it. Right. You have to get over it. I don't care if any type of sickness, that is the only way I have always known how to heal. And it's a good thing that I had that very foundation growing up, that you can't always, lay in bed all day. You have to keep getting up.
Right.
And one thing about this COVID disease, for everybody who wants to know what it's about, is fatigueness. It's tiredness. You don't want to do things that you've been doing for time, because you're so tired. Yeah. And even not physically, but mentally, your brain is like, I don't know what to do. I don't even want to eat, right, because I just can't. But you have to. Right. So, I mean, that's one of the things that I wanted to get across, that, it was something that we couldn't hide. We wore our mask. Right. We did. We washed our hands. But being on the front lines every day, for those who are essential workers, who work job in the field every day, who deal with customer service every day, deal with people, deal with things, you have to just be real with yourself, because it's bound to happen regardless if you do or you don't. Right. But you just got to be ultra prepared for when it does. Right. So either way, we're fine. I think, to be honest with you, it's getting better as the days progress. I feel better than I did Tuesday. You're still getting over some of your symptoms. Right. I think my symptoms just deal with, muscles that I always deal with every day coming off my job, which is the back of my legs. Right. So other than that, I'm going to get off of that. But Harold, if you want to chime in, you can, please.
Well, I just wanted to ask, what were some of the first symptoms you guys noticed? Well,
scratchy throat for me. The scratchy throat. What was yours?
I'm going to say probably the fatigue, and then originally probably short of breath, and I started perspiring a lot.
Oh yes, perspiration.
Because I tried to go to, I think the worst day of coming into it, I did try to go to work that particular day, and I got there, and the other part about it is that I'd been nauseated, and I noticed the nausea had been coming, had been kind of consistent, with that, and it's still, that part is still not gone, and then of course the diarrhea part, from the nausea and things like that. And of course I started taking nausea medication and Pepto-Bismol and all this type of stuff to kind of hopefully blend it out. But I would say so much that, there's a cough involved, but thank goodness it's being suppressed, with that. But other than that, I mean, that's all I can pinpoint. It's just like that I'm in this humongous cloud right now.
Right.
It's humongous cloud, and it's like you're in reality, but you're not in reality. You know what I mean? So, but other than that, yeah, it's just very, very, very weak, very weak, because your body's fighting, you know what I'm saying? Your body's fighting right now. So it's going to be weak. And I just said, once we take the remedies and stuff that we've had, we just sleep, just rest. That's the best thing you can do.
But keep doing what you've been doing though. Just don't do it around people.
No,
if you just be away from people. You're cleaning and you're cooking and you're making sure that everything is together. But other than that, though, we both went to work Tuesday. Actually, I went to work overnight. Right. Because you were sick that Monday. You was going through it Monday. Yeah. I was going through a little bit of a scratchiness. And then when I went in, I told one of my coworkers, I said, I feel so discombobulated. I feel so tired. But I'm gonna do 3 Red Bulls, which is, I'm sorry, Harold. When I'm at work, I have to get my Red Bulls together. So I got 3 Red Bulls and a bag of cough drops, and that helped me over from midnight to 8:30 that morning. But I was still feeling it. But I kept going along with the program, pushing and pulling my cart, stalking and doing whatever I need to do, totes and all that jazz. And I told him around, because my other coworker, he left a little early, around 5:30 that morning. I said, listen, I think I can manage. I think I can make it. So I don't even worry about me. I think what is going to happen is going to sweat itself out. Not even thinking that it was COVID. I thought it was a cold. It's going to sweat itself out. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to go home and take me a hot bath, get myself together, and then I'm going to fall asleep. And I should be back to normal. Well, that normal was the new normal, but it's just the fact that I didn't think about it as a COVID symptom. But he even told me that night, he said, do you think you might have it? I said, actually, I don't think I have it, because my taste buds wasn't acting up. My smelling wasn't acting up. I kept reiterating that to him, and I can taste what I'm, this Red Bull right now. And plus on top of that, I can smell the store. So I didn't feel like in that moment it was, creeping up on me.
Did you have a fever?
I did. I broke out. I sweated that whole entire night. That's why I kept telling him, I said, I'm going to sweat this out. Even some, and not only him, but other co-workers kept telling me, you are sweating a lot. And I said, well, being funny, being from the South, my sweat glands were acting up. So I was just joking just to, not to scare them into thinking that I was sick, even if I had the cold or the flu. But I work with 2 middle-aged women. They care. When they see something like something is not right with you, they start asking questions. And sure enough, the question was, you're sweating. Are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good at this point, which I knew in the back of my mind, something's not right. So but you know how that is.
and the reality is from some of the reports that I've heard is that they're expecting for it to get worse in February.
Wow.
The numbers. So
wow.
Yeah. So
well, the good thing is that they say once you've contracted, you can't contract it again. And it's one that's course, so you build your body's building up its immune system,
antibodies to
it. So which is great. In that. Before we go to break real quick, then we're going to dig into the horrific Wednesday of this past week. Oh God, this
unbelievable.
So, yeah, I mean, we're going to dissect that a little bit, guys, in a minute. Before we go, just talk to us real quick before we go to break about a little bit from the juicing aspect, and if one is dealing with what we're dealing with, and what remedies in the juicing category that can help boost the immune system, even further than the normal things that we'd be taking.
Right. So, right now I'm actually on the second day of a 21-day juice cleanse.
Right.
It's just having fruits and vegetables. And so when you talk about any kind of ailments, cold, flu, or COVID, it's really what happens is it attacks our immune system. So it's very important that we do all that we can to build our immune system. And we do that primarily, through what we take. And, juicing fruits and vegetables is an excellent way to help boost the immune system. Vitamin D, most Black people are vitamin D deficient.
Okay.
Of our melanin, we don't absorb the vitamin D from the sun. So I think the study said over 80% of us are vitamin D deficient. So we all be taking, a vitamin D supplement, because that helps to boost our immune system as well.
Okay.
And we don't know when the vaccine is going to get to all of the rest of us. So during that time, really, there are things that we can do to, make sure that we are boosting our immune system through the things that we, intake.
Gotcha.
And juicing things like ginger and lemon really is helpful in terms of helping to boost our immune system.
Gotcha. Great.
For somebody who like lemon juice, though.
Right.
Somebody who like lemon juice and lemonade. Well, you know what? Let's just say it like that. That's mostly always in our situation in a way.
True.
Yes.
And then also supplements, other supplements like sea moss. Sea moss has 92 of the minerals. Well, our body needs 102 minerals. Sea moss has 92 of those minerals. So making sure that we are getting in, supplementation just to keep our immune system boost, because not only are our immune systems weakened oftentimes by what we eat, but it's also weakened by the stress. We all are stressed out, right?
Oh, right, exactly.
And so, we need to be doing all that we can to get our immune system up.
Gotcha. Amen. Gotcha. All right, guys, we'll be right back after this commercial.
Hey,
and we're back. Guys, thank you for tuning in to The Truth Behind
and
the Truth. Oh, from Los Angeles, California?
Yeah.
Charlotte, North Carolina?
Charlotte, North Carolina. Timbuktu.
Want to give a big shout out once again to our YouTube family, our Instagram family, as well as our Facebook family. Guys, wanted to make sure that you are going to our Facebook page, purchasing the t-shirts, purchasing from Dr. LaFall's categories of juicing and his books and whatever. They're all on our Truth Behind the Truth page. Links are set up for all of that. Yes. Make sure you support us very heavily, guys. The show is being done very independently.
Yes, it is.
We were very thankful for that. But hey, we can always take your monetary support too. I'm not ashamed. I tell you, just send us an email. Click right on that email address on the Facebook page and say what's your Cash App number?
Yeah.
And hey, you can send us some money.
Yeah.
We will take it.
That's right.
But into the events of the event. I won't say events. The event of this week. This Wednesday was, I think, a Wednesday from hell, if you might as well say.
In my sleep.
In
my sleep.
Oh,
I slept all through it. I just
you did. Well, I watched it from the moment that it started. This isn't even beyond the word of a debacle. This is not even a debacle. This is just, I think, insanity at its most. I like as everybody said, you would have never thought anything like this would have ever happened in the United States. Right. And then on top of it, and which we're going to dissect it and break it down a little bit, even to the fact of the lack of response from the authorities, really getting in there and addressing the issue like they should. And of course, they said, if it was a Black Lives Matter movement or another protest, they'd have been all over the whole situation. Mm-hmm. But before we dig into it, we got a few clips we're going to run through it, and we'll talk about it, from there. So go ahead, Ish.
Right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol.
There's some protests happening down outside the Capitol. They appear to be Trump supporters who are frustrated with the outcome and are trying to breach some of that those security perimeters around the Capitol.
And we'll stand in recess until the call of the chair.
Protesters are in the building. We have visual evidence that some protesters have made it inside the Capitol building, around the security, and are gathering around the area where the Senate was in session from the president. Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful.
Right over here, you can actually see right here, this is a caravan of vehicles from the Metropolitan Police Department. So this is not Capitol Police, this is not National Guard, this is District of Columbia Police. They came in their riot gear and entered the Capitol. We have seen others from the National Guard and other law enforcement agencies. And then in just the last few minutes, we also have seen some snipers.
I call on this mob to pull back and allow the work of democracy to go forward. I call on President Trump on television now to fulfill his oath and defend the Constitution and demand an end to this siege.
The Capitol building has been cleared. Now they're working to clear the Capitol grounds. And as I reported just a moment ago, Associated Press now reporting and NBC News reporting that the police have used tear gas and percussion grenades to begin clearing protesters from the U.S. Capitol.
Thank you, Ish.
There was a shooting at the Capitol today.
I don't even understand. I'm trying to find the words how to begin. To address it. Maybe Harold, maybe you could take the lead and just kind of give your point on that and just kind of go from there.
Well, for me, just seeing the visual of that was just so unreal. And I think, what was the intent? They couldn't very well have thought that they were going to stop, the process from moving forward, that they were going to be impeded. But to have the so-called president to usher them, to call them to march down there to do that was just really unreal.
Right.
And when I looked at the visual, it looked like something out of a scary movie where you had all of these goons just climbing the walls of the
Yes.
Capitol. It's just like it looked as if they were possessed. You know,
Yes.
I've never seen anything like that. And for the Trumps, I think Ivanka called them patriots.
Patriots. Uh-huh.
I mean, just it's interesting how people create a narrative to feed into whatever they want to say. But
Right.
this was atrocious.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, one of the things that got me, which is not surprising, but with Donald Trump Jr. or as affectionately they call him Beavis and Butthead, that when they were he was just about to make that speech, and then they showed them behind, and he was taking a video of them behind the scenes, and that treacherous girlfriend of his, the one that yells about everything, that probably doesn't know anything from ass from a hole in the ground. She's just there luckily because he found whatever that in her, whatever. So, but I was just really disappointed in their behavior. Seeing that behavior behind the scenes, that to me, that magnified the whole issue even worse. Right. You know what I mean? It's like they were all involved in this whole process. And for me, I'm really hoping that the FBI, will put out charges against them, as a whole. Giuliani and Donald Trump, and who pushed these people, even though you're responsible for your own actions. I get that. However, at the end of the day, you were motivated by some of them other force, to move forward and do what you did. Because you still had the psyche as a human being not to make that step. You had the psyche to say that this was wrong. I should have never been. First of all, I should have never been here. In the beginning, I should have never been here. But it's just at some point I got a lot to say, but I'm so lost for words because I would have never thought that would have happened. At the end of the day, at one point I know you got some things that you wanted to say too about it as well. Yeah, let's just deal with the first woman that got killed. Doing it. She was here in San Diego. She's from San Diego, California. And she got radicalized. She had a great war record. Air Force, and served 2 terms, I think, in Iraq, whatever the case may be. And she got radicalized by listening to that bullshit that Trump had been putting out all along. Now, there was a video that she put out, somebody put out of her on Instagram. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
You saw that one? Okay. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. She made some good points. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? She made some good points. But here it is, when you have clear information, you get misguided by something else. That she got misguided, though. You know what I'm saying? So people have to be very careful. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Her passion, and I agree with her. Here in Los Angeles, the homeless population is off the chain. There should be something being dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? The garbage and things that needs to be picked up in the city. But however, that's not a Trump issue. You see what I'm saying? That's not a national issue. That is a state issue. If you felt that way, then you should be running for some sort of office here in the state to be addressing it. But to go and to break into the Capitol because you felt like that the homeless population was off the record here in LA, and the trash and everything else that goes along with that. That was just,
that was white privilege on steroids. What we said.
Okay. Yes.
That was white privilege on steroids. To think that you could just come into a government facility and just take over like that is that's just, who would think that they could do that unless they felt that they had the right to.
Absolutely. Because as we said that, if it would have been a situation where Black Lives Matter, and of course we know what happened during that time frame, and then the wonderful photo op that he goes out and gasses the ones that are around the area so he can go and take a picture in front of the I should say the damn church, but take a damn picture of himself in front of the legitimate church,
But the fact is that this has always been America. Thank God. My life here, since I've been born, I have never had to see a lynching. But from what I saw and what Donald Trump did from the very beginning up to them walking towards the Capitol was a lynching. It was, he ginned them up. And thank God, I didn't see no corn whiskey. I didn't see no beer. Could have been beer out there, but there was a noose. Did y'all see the noose? The noose was out there. The only person that didn't seem to get caught was the people that they were going to catch.
Right.
The fact is that he knew what he was doing.
Right.
He ginned them up to believe that if they could go down to the Capitol and stop Pence from doing his duty to get things done, then so he could be president, then things would be okay for them. It would make it a right. It would have given them a right, which was in that moment what he was doing was giving them the right to go out there and do this. Right. And thank God nobody didn't get caught, because it was bound to happen. They had gear, they had rifles, they had bombs that were placed in certain areas of the building and some down the street near the RNC building. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to throw off like this is, this has been America for a long time. It just have not happened like this in Washington, D.C. Right. But we have, as African Americans, if we know our history, if we know about Tulsa, Oklahoma, if we know about Wilmington, North Carolina, Atlanta, the riots in Atlanta, Georgia, we know these stories. We know the stories of lynchings, the stories of the bombings of our churches, the 16th Street. These people are the grandchildren of these people. Tradition has not stopped for them. Right. It has never stopped. Actually, it has progressed since Obama was president. This has been rooted in them for such a long time. And it took somebody like Trump to say, this tradition is okay with me as long as you come and vote for me, right. As long as you support me and what I'm doing, then I uphold these traditions. This is your American right. Right. This is your patriotism. Right. This is who you are. So if you support me, I will uphold it. I will support it. I will do whatever it needs for y'all to do to come and make sure that I become president for life. I can't always believe the fact that this phrase, and I'm not throwing off on what you said, but I'm just saying that this could not have been America. This has always been this culture. It just had not. It just never reached the Capitol. Let's just say like they had never reached the White House, but it has reached African American communities. True. And destroyed Black churches. Right. True. It has stopped integration from happening. True. Little Rock 9. Remember those people coming after those children, and it took the U.S. Army to come after Reconstruction to guard these Black children from going into Little Rock, Arkansas High School. Right. These are the grandkids of these people. I'm sorry. They felt in every being of their body that what they were doing was right, and that they had every right to do it because this was taught to them. This was rooted in them. This was ingrained, initiated through whatever Ku Klux Klan, whatever National White Council, or the Dixiecrats. Remember those people? This is all of their grandkids. And they had enough money, to my surprise, to get on a plane and go back to Washington and do damage and wreck shop. Right. True.
And then you even had some of the Capitol police officers that were assisting them, that were allowing.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And it's like, who does this? I mean, it was so baffling, to the particular point that, like you said, taking selfies with these fools. Right. At the end of the day, and I that's why I say I'm so lost for it, because I have such a great level of faith in humanity, and I will never lose that in spite of what we've seen. You know what I mean? But I have such a great level of faith in humanity, and wanting people to do better, wanting humanity to do better, because we can do better. Yes, we have to do better. You know, people always, use the excuse that the world is going to the hell in the handbasket. And use all these other things. The world, and we've said it on this show several times. The planet is doing what it's supposed to do.
Amen.
Right.
The sun rises when it's supposed to and sets when it's supposed to.
That's right.
Birds chirp, the oceans, at the timing of the oceans, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. Trees bud, everything else, and the ecological system does what it's supposed to do. The major issue on this planet is humanity.
Amen.
Okay. And our lack of responsibility, number one thing is a lack of respect, but lack of responsibility to one another. And it's not just in our age. The thing about it is, it's just not in this part of the century that we've been blessed to live in. This has been going on forever. You know what I'm saying? We can go back 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. At the end of the day, and realize that this is the mentality. And if you want to take it from the fact of and I don't like using biblical references a lot of times about our show because people think that we're trying to tell Bible stories, but is that when you have had an absence of the mindset of God, or some people say the mindset of Christ, you're subject for anything.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? You're subject for anything. Okay. Now, adopting that mindset comes in so many different ways. So let's not, for you viewing audience, don't say that it means you walking down the aisle to church except Jesus, personal Savior. There's so many ways, okay, of dealing with having the mindset of Christ. Okay. So, but that's a whole other teaching story, at the end of the day. But in its inception is what I'm trying to say is that mind of freedom, that mind that recognizes the love of that fellow brother, that love of that fellow human being, and not treat them as the poop that you leave in your toilet. Right. At the end of the day. And then some of y'all don't even flush the toilet, so that's a whole nother story there. We ain't gonna go there, but we always. But and we didn't talk about all that in the show too. Because we got some nasty folk out here. But anyway, some nasty people.
But now we have 5 people that are dead.
Oh wow!
Yes,
5 people that have died, and just senseless. This did not have to happen.
Yeah.
And I think we all knew that Trump was going to do something because he, felt like he didn't have any other options, and so we knew he was going to do something because he's running around fearful of what's going to happen to him after January 20th.
Right.
So this was just somebody that's in fear, that's doing whatever they can to.
And his enablers never stopped. They never stopped, and they still haven't stopped. You still got Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Lindsey Graham. He's that brings that karma with that chicken. When the chickens came to roost for them,
they helped to create this monster.
They did.
Oh yeah, they did. Now, Lindsey Graham. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that they helped to create this monster.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
While they sat silently while he was doing all of the crazy stuff that he was doing, they helped to empower him to make sure that he could do and say whatever he wanted to say.
That's so true. That is so true.
Yes, he did.
Well, we're going to dig a little bit more in. We'll bring the clip back up after we come back from this next commercial, guys. Be right back with you. Hello, and we're back, guys. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight to The Truth Behind the Truth.
Yeah.
Definitely with our East Coast and West Coast connections.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, that's a great way to do it. We do our show simulcast simultaneously. You know, the one thing I could say, you know, earlier on, outside of what we're experiencing now, that, you know, because of this COVID situation, it has made us become more innovative in terms of developing shows and products and being able to have guests, you know, on a show, and people could be all over the world now and be, you know, connected, you know, and share their views and thoughts. And, you know, of course, as our show's been developing all throughout 2020, you know, 2021 is just, hey, it's off the chain. I'm telling you, it's already, oh my God.
And you know what? And to be honest with you, now that we are, you know, doing what we're doing and going through what we're going through, I have received, you know, something in me so many ideas that I want to explore now that I have the time to explore them. You know, I don't know what it is. I think, Harold, you agree with me. You know, when you have the freedom of not dealing with other things, something starts coming into your mind that says, you know what? Now you have time to get other things in order, right, and things together. So I don't want to put it out there because it's in me. But when it does happen, when it do happen, it's gonna shock the heck out of some of these people who are like, what? But trust me, it's coming. But it's in the process now. Right. But I just can't wait. I to be honest with you, I'm excited because at this point in time in my life, I am excited. I'm very excited, even though, it's unfortunate that we have this, but, you know, the COVID, but, you know, at the end of the day, that's not the end of, you know, it's not the end. It's just the beginning. And it's not even really, I don't consider, you know, if people are passing from this, don't get me wrong, people are dying from this. Yeah. And I'm blessed. And honestly, I am very blessed to have this, but to share this with somebody who has been with me for a very long time. And we're doing this together. We're going through this together. And it's something that is triggering me to do more.
And you know what, D, that's one of the powers of the stillness and peace. You know, you start to get fresh insights, fresh revelations when you have moments and times where you don't have to do anything, where you don't have to get on that treadmill and answer to anyone or be somewhere, when you are able just to be still and allow your mind to just explore and be receptive to downloads of just new inspiration.
Right.
Yes.
Totally agree. You know, real quick before, I think we're going to bring up the clip one more time and then we'll get off of Wednesday's event. But I did want to mention about our upcoming shows real quick. We have a show that we're putting together called PSD. What is it? PSD
of the Christian church.
Of the church. Post-traumatic syndrome of the church. Okay. So that was coming. That's going to be a really, really good show, guys. You know, hey, woo.
That's going to be hot. That's the trigger. When we talk, anytime we talk about church and religion, that's a trigger for some people on both sides. On both sides.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm hoping that the discussion that we have that day will offer our viewing audience an opportunity to experience the freedom and the mindset that's out there for them, you know, and not be bound by the labels of Christianity or, you know, whatever religious perspective that they are a part of, or religious group, I should say. So I'm looking forward to that show. The other show is that men have voices too. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's going to be another show. We're really, really looking at you know, a conversation among men, not so much ethnically wise, but it may be driven, but out of being driven through the African American voice, we're wanting that voice to have a complete reach into all men.
Yeah.
Okay. It is such a wonderful show because of the topics that are out there that men really have a voice, but their voice is always silent. That's true. You know, in many ways, either that innate fear that they have, you know, that they don't necessarily want to be able to communicate about it. And sometimes, you know, just to be frank, women shut men down, and men just go into that little shell, you know, and they don't say anything. You know, and they really have a voice, a clear voice that's out there that needs to be heard. You know, and that's building relationships. And then it doesn't mean necessarily a heterosexual relationship, but it could be in a gay relationship or a heterosexual relationship or whatever the case may be. Men have voices, okay? And we want to talk about men having voices too, bottom line. So that may be a 2 or 3 part series, but we'll see how it goes, from the first. And then for that particular show, we've got actor Keith Burke that'll be coming back with us, and actor Sean Baker that'll be on our guest on that particular show as well. Yeah. But anyway, can you bring up the last part of that clip, and then we'll finish out with that, and then we'll go from there.
A moment ago, Associated Press now reporting and NBC News reporting that the police have used tear gas and percussion grenades to begin clearing protesters from the U.S. Capitol. There was a shooting at the Capitol today, and that in fact the shooting victim has died. The account of Donald Trump will be locked for 12 hours following the removal of the tweets that Twitter deemed incite violence. If the tweets are not removed, the account will remain locked.
The announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected President and Vice President of the United States, each for the term beginning on the 20th day of January.
Thank you, sir. And then that's a good way to kind of end it in that particular segment there. I'm glad to see that Mike Pence got on board and did what he was supposed to do and broke ties with that idiot. He has been, in the background for 4 years, and I think that probably quietly he knew it all along. This man was an idiot, but he couldn't, for political reasons, he could not, address it the way that he wanted to. But this was his time to show a little bit different, and break away from that particular level of, commitment to that idiot, You mentioned about Lindsey Graham earlier, and even with Lindsey Graham, he's getting flack for that because people are giving these damn Trump supporters are, yelling at him when he's traveling to the airport. But even him to break ties like he did, and like he said in his little thing during the Senate, was that him and Trump had a good run, but enough was enough.
But let's not forget John McCain. I remember, when he died. They were such good friends. And when John McCain, before he passed, went to the Senate and gave, I think it was the health care. They were trying to repeal Obama's health care. He gave it a thumbs down. And in that moment, I kept thinking to myself, where was that friend? Lindsey Graham, I'm always just in my mind thinking, he betrayed his own friend.
Right.
In the midst of, when his friend was in the midst of his sickness, when Trump just kept going after McCain, badgering his medal, but even going to but just being in Vietnam, the very war that he himself ran away from, Trump. Trump, and he wasn't the only one. There were some other people who became presidents before him who ran away from, who dodged the draft.
Right.
Not to say that, in that time period, but that was part of the situation. But you're going to sit up here and talk and just down this man in the midst of his sickness. And then Lindsey Graham didn't say nothing. But, he stood up this time, but he had so much time to do it.
Right.
To be what's his name? Oh my goodness. Not Mike Pence. The guy that ran against Obama in the second. What's his name?
Utah.
Yeah, his father was governor of the Michigan when you were growing up. I keep forgetting his name though. But other than that though, all hats off. Lindsey I don't know. I really don't.
Well, I think that when the 20th rolls around, we will absolutely see what is going to go forward. So we all, I think a good portion of America is sitting in hope and expectation for a great change, to occur, with Kamala and with Joe. The thing about it is that, as I said, when they first won, that they can't do it alone, and to expect Joe Biden to come in and solve all your problems and then keep writing stimulus checks, you out of line. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just realistically, that's not going to happen. and to feel bad if hopefully he will get this next round of stimulus checks done. It'll be a blessing for everybody, and I get that. However, you still have to look at, what was it John Kennedy that said, ask not what you can do for your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That still is such a reigning thing, in America, and it should be. And not that you're on so much of a political level, but like I said earlier, what you can do for your country is taking care of your fellow countrymen. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the humanity that you see on an everyday basis. Stop walking over people. You know what I'm saying? Start speaking to people. You know what I mean? Being there, open up a door from somebody. Whatever it can be. Extending kindness is a number one way that you can be supportive of humanity and where humanity needs to go with things. Because if you stay on this cycle of disrespect for one another, it will end up being I don't want to say a race war, but a human war.
Right.
Because you'll have all these people that are against each other for what and you really think about it, why are they against each other? Most of these people don't know why they don't like the situation. You take them fools that went to Washington and did what they did. They really don't know the essence of why they did what they did.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The number one thing is because number one is that they don't know who they are. Okay. When you don't know who you are, when you know that when you don't know that you are enough, you know what I'm saying? When you know that you don't know your authenticity, you know what I'm saying? So you're going to be led astray by all of these other type of things, trying to find yourself. I mean, just like that fool and the one with the horns on and then the painted to the face. And I was like, is this what you represent? Is this what you in your psyche? You know what I mean? I mean, right. so that what was it, a bull head he had on, or
he was some type of fake shawl?
But this is your idea of challenging America to get better. You putting on a bullhorn so you can bum rush the whole situation. With that kind of mentality. I'm like, come on.
They've been seeing this mentality for a long time. I mean, I'm so sorry, y'all, but I was watching this documentary called James Baldwin, I Am Not Your Negro. And it's just the stuff that you watch, and I was about to say, this going to have to start with what we listen to and what we watch. When you watch something for such a long, if you allow something like, for instance, like rap music with our community. I love rap music. I love hip hop. I love the history of hip hop and rap, but the outcome of it is very grotesque. Mm-hmm. But I have learned to compartmentalize what's good music from bad music, and what is for me and what is not for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But you have people, like you said, who do not know that they're enough, right. That don't know of their authenticity, don't know who, they don't even know they don't know who they are as an individual. Mm-hmm. They just go out there and they sag, they promote, grotesque extra activities and recreational activities, crutches that don't even mean a thing, alcohol and all that stuff. Not that, I look at stuff like that. I'm like, if you know better, you do better. Right. If you know better, you will do better. But that is not me. Just because Ice Cube or whatever Rocky or the baby, whatever his name is, can go out and do that, and that's a representation of them, that is not a representation of me. Right. And the thing about those people, they have seen a representation of themselves that has been the false narrative of the American psyche, the historical psyche. When you think of shows like Bonanza, right. When you think of people like John Wayne, when you think of people who, Mr. Smith, you never saw African-American people in those films. Right. You never saw smile. You just never saw a dichotomy of different people in those situations other than white people. Right. So when you see things like that for years, I'm so sorry, y'all. If you see things like that for years, and that has been initiated and ingrained in your thoughts of being American, that is American. That John Wayne killing those Indians, those people are the bad guys, they're the good guys. Then that makes me feel some type of way. That makes me feel like I have some weight in this world. Right. That is, I think at the end of the day, we have to compartmentalize what we are watching, what we are listening, what are we seeing, especially with this in today's time of reality TV, right. Everything is not a reality television show. Your life is not a reality television show. Those are so scripted. Do you know when a person walks into a restaurant and you know there's about to be a fight? Have you seen those types of shows? They just sit there and they like, everybody's just sitting there like, and they know what's going to happen. And you got this one person at the table and they're just sitting there waiting for the fight to happen. And sure enough, the fight erupts and you got people still sitting there just talking and eating like nothing's going on. And that's not reality to me.
Right.
But that's what we're that's been ingrained in our minds that it's the way to act. When that is not the way to act. Go ahead, Harold. I took up all the time.
No, I was just gonna say, there is a bit of good news that came this week in Georgia.
Yes.
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 With the election of the two senators there,
Yes.
and now the Senate is going to be the Democrats are going to have the Senate. So that's good news.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, what Stacey Abrams was able to help lead, how she, used her defeat as governor and how she turned it, used that energy to help to, turn the Georgia blue. So that was a big win. That was a big win.
So she was actually victorious in the backside rather than being on the front side, and doing something that has just never happened before,
Right.
which is truly amazing. I think while the two candidates, Ralph and Warnock, and John Ossoff are going to do such an amazing job, and I was like, they had to get that Kelly lip out of there. She bought that seat. Everybody knew she bought that seat from the beginning. Brian Kemp put her in there because she has the money. She had no political experience.
Unelected, as Senator Warnock elect kept saying, unelected. She was
unelected.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like really when we were living in. I told you that darn woman had no business being put in office. I was like, what?
I was shocked that she wasn't originally from Georgia. She's from Illinois.
Well,
but whatever. But the fact is that even Kemp, when he was running against Stacey, everybody kept saying that was going to be a rigged situation because he ran that whole entire system in the state of Georgia. Right. So when he won, it was just like, so what are we going to do now? Yeah. Sure enough, Stacey had the idea. She had a plan. And boy, did she make lemons and make lemonade. Right. She went and she took it to the Supreme Court. Yeah. They didn't want to deal with it. But you know what? She said, fine. I'm going to find a way. Sure enough, she got people out there registered. She got a movement going. Yeah. And when Trump lost Georgia, that threw everybody, including me, over the edge. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened? Yeah. Right. But it happened, and sure enough, it happened again with this runoff. Right. Stacey is just now,
She's gonna be the next governor. I think she is gonna be.
Yeah. Stacey powerful, regardless if she's governor or not. The woman is powerful.
Right. Yeah.
She's got a force behind her.
She does. Because she's truly articulate with a passion. You know what I mean? And articulating that passion is just so powerful with her, on every side. And then, she's not wavered. She's like a laser beam, and she's focused on that, and she doesn't waver. I mean, questions, different things get hit at her, but she comes straight forward. Once again, her direct message that just doesn't waver. And that's just so powerful. Do you have anything you want to add before we wrap up tonight? Or do you have anything you want to add?
Did I mention that I'm on my second day of a 21-day juice cleanse?
I think you did say something, but go ahead and talk about it, please.
Okay. Yeah. So every quarter I do a cleanse, and it's a group cleanse that I've invited folks to participate with me because our bodies are exposed to so many toxins. I've said this before on the show, and it's just doing a cleanse is just a good way to detox our bodies. So. I'm on the second day. Normally, the first 3 days are the roughest. And today, I was wanting to eat all kind of food that I don't even normally eat. I had some shrimp and some other stuff. But the first 3 days are the toughest. After day 3, it's smooth sailing. Yes.
Well, that's good. Well, we're looking forward to diving in at some point when we get through this situation, that we're dealing with right now.
We're gonna get through it.
We're going to get there,
Oh yeah, yeah.
And,
get through
and guys, we wanted to say to everybody, if you understand what we're dealing with in our bodies right now, as we started out the show, Dylan and I both have been tested positive for the COVID-19. I'm feeling major stuff in my body right now, but we decided that, the show had to go on. I had to prop myself up to make it happen, tonight. But we didn't want to leave you guys hanging out there, because it is important for the growth of our show and where we're going. Harold, I want to thank you so much for tonight for your diligence.
Yeah.
Once again, being there, our right arm of the show. Thank you for that, guys. Next week, I think that hold on. Next week should be the first of one of those shows that we've been telling you about earlier on. But just look for the postings. We'll keep you up to date on how that's working with the upcoming shows as well. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in to Truth Behind the Truth. We love you guys. We encourage your healing energy send it to us on the West Coast here because we need it right now. Okay. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. Harold, hey, always.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you for tuning in too. We'll see you next week. Same time, same station.
Yeah.
Stations.
Yeah.
Have a great night. Thanks for tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth. Good night, y'all.